The stars seemed almost too bright that night, as if they were watching with particular interest. Commander Eva Rostova stood on the observation deck of the Earth Defense Coalition headquarters, her eyes fixed on the vast expanse above. 40 years had passed since humanity's first encounter with extraterrestrial hostility. 40 years since Marcus Lane had issued that fateful warning that echoed through the cosmos. Attack again and face total annihilation. The world had changed dramatically since then. From the ashes of near destruction, humanity had united under the Earth Defense Coalition, a global military and political entity charged with safeguarding Earth's future. The EDC had expanded humanity's reach through the solar system, establishing a substantial lunar base and a growing colony on Mars. These achievements have been built on a foundation of reverse-engineered alien technology, guided by the principles Marcus Lane had left behind before retreating from public view. Commander Rostova's reflection stared back at her from the reinforced glass. At 53, her face carried the determination that had propelled her through the ranks of the EDC, along with the weight of memories no one should bear. She had been just 13 when the first invasion came, when her family's shelter in St. Petersburg had collapsed under alien bombardment. She alone had survived, and that day had forged her into the steel-willed commander she had become, a woman determined to ensure humanity would never again be caught unprepared. "Commander, you requested the anomaly reports?" The voice behind her belonged to her aide, Lieutenant Rivera. "Yes, thank you," she replied, taking the datapad. For weeks, strange readings had been detected at the outer edges of the solar system. Probe disappearances, energy signatures unlike anything in their extensive databases. Most officials dismissed these as equipment malfunctions or natural phenomena, but Rostova felt a familiar unease settling in her stomach. "Has Dr. Thorne seen these?" she asked, scrolling through the data. "Not yet, ma'am. The science division has been reluctant to involve him, given his history of alarmism." Rostova frowned. Alarmism was the polite term the bureaucrats used to describe Dr. Eris Thorne's increasingly urgent warnings about the EDC's weapons development program. As the leading expert on Marcus Lane's work, Thorne had been instrumental in developing Earth's planetary defense systems. But recently, he had grown concerned about the direction of his research, claiming they were missing crucial safety mechanisms in Lane's original design. "Send in the data anyway," she ordered, "and arrange a meeting for tomorrow. The council might not approve." "The council isn't out here looking at the stars and wondering what's looking back," Rostova cut in. "Dr. Thorne sees things others miss. That's why I need him." The following morning, Dr. Eris Thorne arrived at her office, his tall frame slouched with exhaustion. At 62, he still possessed the keen intellect that had made him one of humanity's most brilliant scientists, but recent years had etched deep lines around his eyes and mouth. His research into Marcus Lane's weapon, the device that had saved humanity and issued the ultimate warning to the cosmos, had taken its toll. "You've seen the anomaly data?" Rostova asked without preamble. Thorne nodded, his fingers tapping nervously on the arm of his chair. "It's not equipment malfunction. The energy patterns show evidence of deliberate modulation." "You believe it's them?" Returning despite the warning. Thorne hesitated. "Not necessarily the same entities. The signatures are different. Evolved, perhaps. Or a different faction entirely." He leaned forward. "Commander, there's something I've discovered about Marcus Lane's weapon. Something I've kept from the council." Rostova tensed. "Go on." "The weapon didn't just cause physical destruction. My analysis suggests it created a targeted reality distortion, a fundamental alteration of physics within a specified domain. That's why we've never been able to fully replicate it." Thorne's voice dropped lower. "And why trying to do so might be catastrophically dangerous." "Are you saying our planetary defense system won't work?" "I'm saying that Lane built in safeguards or consequences we don't fully understand. The weapon we've constructed is like a shadow of his original design." Thorne looked up at her, his eyes haunted. "And if these anomalies are what I fear, we may need more than a shadow to face what's coming." Before Rostova could respond, her communication panel flashed urgent red. Commander, the voice of strategic operations crackled through. We've lost contact with the Jupiter Patrol Vessel Sentinel. Their last transmission. You need to see this. The footage was fragmented, corrupted, but what it showed sent ice through Rostova's veins. Massive structures, neither fully mechanical nor biological, but some horrifying fusion of both, emerging from a rift in space near Jupiter's orbit. The Sentinel's weapons had fired, ineffective against the monstrosity. The final frame showed a pulse of energy surging toward the camera before the feed went dead. Within hours, panic began spreading throughout Earth and the colonies. Old fears resurfaced. Political factions within the EDC erupted into heated debate, some advocating for a preemptive strike using their incomplete understanding of Lane's weapon, others insisting on extreme caution, fearing they might provoke an enemy they didn't understand. Rostova pushed through the chaos, mobilizing the fleet despite resistance from her superiors. We can't wait for them to reach Earth or Mars, she argued in the emergency council session. We need to establish a defensive perimeter at the outer system boundaries now, and risk being seen as the aggressors, countered Counselor Vasquez. We don't even know if they're hostile. The Sentinel and its crew of 28 would disagree, Rostova shot back, if they were still alive to do so. While the political debate raged, Dr. Thorne worked feverishly in his laboratory. The breakthrough came 3 days after the Sentinel's destruction. He burst into Rostova's office without announcement, his normally careful demeanor abandoned. I've been analyzing the Sentinel's data all wrong, he said, projecting a complex energy pattern onto her wall display. This isn't just an attack signature. There are embedded patterns here, information-dense signals folded within the energy matrix. What kind of information? I'm not entirely sure yet, but it challenges everything we thought we knew about the first invasion. Thor manipulated the display, highlighting certain patterns. If I'm right, the original weapon designed by Marcus didn't just destroy, it transmitted. It sent something back through the channels the invaders used to reach us. That's why Lane's warning was so specific and so effective. It wasn't just words, it was demonstrated capability. Rostova absorbed this, her mind racing with implications. Can you replicate this effect with our current systems? Not yet. And attempting to do so without understanding the full mechanism could be disastrous. Thorne's hands shook slightly. I need more time. Time was a luxury they didn't have. 3 days later, a massive alien scout ship appeared near Mars orbit. Unlike the biomechanical horrors that had destroyed the Sentinel, this vessel appeared more conventional in design, though still unmistakably alien. It made no immediate aggressive moves, instead emitting a powerful psychic field that overwhelmed the Martian colony's population with crippling terror and disorientation. Rostova commanded a bold defensive action with a local fleet, employing tactics and weapons derived from the First War. The Martian defense line held, but barely. After thoroughly scanning Earth's defense systems, the scout ship retreated, leaving behind lasting psychological damage among the Martian colonists. Analysis of the scout ship's scan data and psychic field revealed a complex message hidden within the energy signatures. Dr. Thorne worked around the clock to decode it, finally emerging from his lab with dark circles under his eyes and a grim expression. It's not a threat, he announced to the assembled EDC leadership. It's a warning. The room fell silent as Thorne explained. This ship represents a faction within the alien collective, a faction apparently at odds with another, more ruthless group they refer to as the Annihilators. According to this message, the Annihilators view Earth's previous challenge and Marcus Lane's warning as an unforgivable insult, one that must be answered with total planetary extinction to ensure galactic order or purity. You expect us to believe one alien faction is warning us about another? Counselor Vasquez scoffed. This is obviously a deception to lower our guard. The psychic attack doesn't support that theory, Rostova pointed out. If they wanted to deceive us, why traumatize the Martian colony? The message indicates the psychic field was a miscalibration, not an intentional attack, Thorne added. Their communications technology interfaces directly with consciousness, and humans aren't compatible without adjustment. The debate that followed split the EDC leadership. Some dismissed the warning as alien trickery. Others, influenced by corporate interests eager to exploit alien technology regardless of risk, actively worked to suppress Thorne's findings and undermine defense preparations. Rostova found herself fighting battles on multiple fronts, against political sabotage within the EDC and against the clock as the threat of the Annihilators loomed. Twice she narrowly escaped assassination attempts, her security detail discovering sabotage shuttle engines before one trip and identifying a poison in her food synthesizer during another. "Someone doesn't want us to prepare," she told Thorne during a secure meeting in an old bunker beneath Geneva. "The question is whether they're traitors, cowards, or simply fools." "Perhaps all three," came a voice from the shadows. Both Rostova and Thorne spun around, weapons drawn, to find an elderly man stepping into the light. Despite his age, Marcus Lane carried himself with dignity, his once dark hair now white, but his eyes still sharp with the same intelligence that had saved humanity decades ago. "Marcus," Thorne breathed, "we thought you were dead." "A useful fiction," Lane replied. "It allowed me to work without interference." He turned to Rostova. "Commander, you were right to trust your instincts. The warning is genuine, and the danger is greater than either of you realize." Lane explained that he had spent decades in seclusion, monitoring deep space for signs of return. The Annihilators are not just another alien faction. They're what the first invaders feared, enforcers of a cosmic hierarchy that brooks no challenge from lesser species. My weapon didn't just defeat the first wave. It echoed back through their network and damaged one of the Annihilators' sacred monitoring stations. To them, this isn't just war, it's blasphemy. With Lane's guidance, humanity raced to prepare. Dr. Thorne worked to recalibrate Earth's weapons based on the new understanding of the alien factions and the nature of the expected Annihilator attack, something that would bypass conventional defenses or target human minds directly. Resources poured into activating planetary-scale weapons based on Lane's original concept, despite the known risks. Meanwhile, the Martian colonies struggled with the aftermath of the psychic attack. Reports of mass hallucinations, suicides, and violent episodes strained the medical facilities. Rostova authorized the evacuation of civilians back to Earth, though many Martians refused to leave their homes despite the danger. Then, without warning, the Annihilator fleet arrived. It emerged from Fold Space near Saturn, enormous, terrifying in its technological advancement, dwarfing previous invasions. Their technology operated on principles that seemed almost magical, penetrating certain types of shields, employing brutal psychological warfare alongside physical destruction. The EDC's initial defense systems collapsed within hours. The outer system outposts went dark one by one. The internal enemies faction within the EDC made their final sabotage attempt, disabling crucial planetary shield generators or attempting to negotiate surrender. Commander Rostova, directing a core fleet in a near-suicidal defensive formation around Earth, employed unique tactics gleaned from analyzing the scout ship encounter and Thorne's insights. Despite heavy losses, her forces managed to slow the Annihilator advance, buying precious time. In a secure facility beneath the lunar surface, Dr. Thorne, working with Marcus Lane's final guidance, realized the only way to activate the planet's ultimate weapon. The refined total annihilation device required an enormous focused energy source and a human element to guide the reality distortion effect. It would almost certainly be a suicide mission for the operator who would need to merge with the machine. "There's no other way," Lane confirmed grimly. "The weapon requires consciousness, a mind to focus its effect and direct the distortion back along the invasion path. A computer can't do it." "Then I'll do it," Thorne said quietly. "No," Lane shook his head. "Your knowledge is too valuable. If humanity survives, they'll need you to understand what happened here." In the end, it was Lieutenant Rivera, Rostova's loyal aide, who volunteered. My sister was on Mars during the psychic attack, she explained. She took her own life yesterday. Let me make her death mean something. As the Annihilator fleet broke through the last defensive line and began bombardment of Earth's upper atmosphere, Rivera embarked on the critical mission to activate the planetary weapon from the secret lunar facility. Her shuttle navigated through enemy formations, sustaining damage but reaching the lunar surface. Inside the facility, she fought through internal sabotage, security systems reprogrammed by traitors, automated defenses turned against her. With guidance from Thorne and Lane via a quantum-encrypted channel, she reached the control center, bleeding from multiple wounds. "I'm here," she gasped into her communicator. "What now?" The procedure was agonizing. Rivera connected herself to the machine through neural interfaces, her consciousness gradually merging with the weapon's targeting systems. She could feel the vast power building around her, reality itself becoming malleable in her perception. "Focus on their path," Lane's voice instructed, sounding distant now. "See the channel they used to reach us. Direct everything back along that route." Rivera's final words, transmitted to Rostova's command ship, were simply, "For Earth." The planetary weapon fired. Its effect was not a conventional blast, but a fundamental distortion of reality that engulfed the Annihilator fleet. The ships didn't merely explode, they unraveled, their very existence contradicted by new laws of physics imposed within the affected zone. But more than that, the effect traveled back along the spacefold corridor they had used, crippling their forward bases or perhaps even their home systems, fulfilling Marcus Lane's original warning on a terrifying scale. The impact on Earth was severe but not apocalyptic. Localized distortions, time anomalies, and strange phenomena would be studied for generations. The psychic attacks ceased immediately. The immediate threat was neutralized, but the cost was immense. Rivera's sacrifice, widespread battle damage, and psychological scars that would never fully heal. In the aftermath, Rostova and the remaining EDC leadership surveyed the consequences. The internal enemy faction was exposed and dealt with. Some members revealed to have been subtly influenced by leftover psychic imprints from the first invasion, their minds compromised without their knowledge. Humanity unified as never before, sobered by the price paid and the power they now wielded, a power capable of total annihilation. They recognized that the warning was not just for aliens, but a caution about the path humanity itself might take. Earth began rebuilding once again, but differently. There was a deeper understanding of the dangers and complexities of the universe. The focus shifted from purely military might to understanding the weapon they had used, establishing cautious interstellar diplomacy, perhaps attempting to contact the faction that had sent the warning, and wrestling with the ethical implications of their ultimate deterrent. In the final days of reconstruction, Commander Rostova stood once more on the observation deck, looking up at the stars. Marcus Lane had returned to seclusion, taking the deepest secrets of his weapon with him. Dr. Thorne led a new scientific initiative focused on defense and understanding rather than weapons development. A memorial to Lieutenant Rivera and all those lost in both invasions had been erected in the plaza below, a simple monument with the words "For Earth" inscribed at its base. Rostova pondered the fragile piece and the lingering echo of Earth's final warning, knowing the universe was listening but uncertain about the future. Humanity had survived, gained tremendous power, assumed heavy responsibility, and now faced the cosmos with cautious hope, forever changed by the knowledge that they were not alone and that their actions echoed across the stars in ways they were only beginning to understand. "We're ready," she whispered to the distant stars, not as a threat, but as a promise to handle their newfound place in the cosmos with the wisdom their hard-won victory had taught them. "Whatever comes next, we're ready."